Chapter 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Master Pig. Master Pig. Don't eat me, don't. Puff, blood splashed on the stone wall of the dungeon, and the shrill cry of begging for mercy stopped abruptly. The monster with a pig's head and a human body sheathed its knife, dragged the man's body away slowly, leaving a scarlet mark. The pungent smell of blood hit his face. Gu Cheng sat slumped in the cell, looking at the extremely glaring blood mark, as if he had foreseen his own end in advance. His handsome face was full of fear and despair. Even though a day and a night had passed, he still couldn't accept the fact that he had traveled through time. Damn. Traveling through to a fantasy world where demons and evil cultivators were rampant would be fine. How did he become the reserve food of the pig demon at the beginning? This is the rhythm of being killed on the spot. Gu Cheng gritted his teeth. His mentality was extremely explosive. After absorbing the original owner's memory, he knew the cause and effect of the matter. The predecessor has the same name and surname as him, and is a small flag officer of the Chengel County Demon Suppression Division. 3 days ago, a rich girl in the county was kidnapped by bandits while out for fun, in order to launch a rescue operation. The predecessor was entrusted with an important task by his superiors, as a scout, to go to the bandits' den to spy on intelligence, who knew that the gang of bandits was colluding with demons, and their strength was far beyond expectations, and for some reason, the other party had anticipated the actions of the Demon Suppression Division and waited in advance. The predecessor was careless for a moment, was captured alive by the demons, and became a prisoner. It seems that there must be a traitor who is colluding with demons in the government office of Chengel County. Gu Cheng looked around. In the dark and dirty dungeon, he is now the only living person left. Although for some reason, those pig demons deliberately left him to the end, but judging from the current situation, the next person to be dragged away and put into the pot will definitely be him. I don't know how these pig demons will eat me. Braised, steamed, sashimi, or just chop me into minced meat, add green onions, and make dumplings together. Fuck, I'm a little hungry myself. Gu Cheng smiled bitterly. Under great fear and despair, his mental state has become a little abnormal. Not only did he start to have wild thoughts in his mind, but he also had hallucinations inexplicably appearing in front of his eyes. Gu Cheng blinked hard, but the hallucinations in front of him were actually clearer. It formed a fluorescent panel with various information listed on it. Host, Gu Cheng. Cultivation, 3rd level of body tempering. Remaining lifespan, 37 years. Martial arts. Learned, bull fist, minor success. Iron cutting blade technique, entry. Wind chasing step, mastery. Is this the system panel? Gu Cheng was slightly startled, and a flash of ecstasy flashed across his face. He hurriedly sat up in the cell, moving the shackles on his body, making a rattling sound. Having read countless online articles, he naturally knew the importance of the system's golden finger. That was the beginning of the counterattack. It was the reliance on reaching the top. For him, a miserable time traveler who started with a collapse of the sky, it was the hope of surviving from the hands of the demons. Gu Cheng took a deep breath and calmed his excited heart. Before he could ask a question, the system took the initiative to transmit his information to his mind. Krypton Life System. The young man raised his eyebrows, his expression slightly strange. As the name suggests, the main function of this Krypton Life System is to make your life stronger. Pour the remaining life into martial arts and directly obtain the corresponding training results. It is similar to the saying that you can get 10 years of your annual salary in exchange for 10 years of your life. This system is a bit pitfall. People practice martial arts to save their lives in this chaotic world, but if you have lost your life, what's the use of having an invincible cultivation? But I don't seem to have a choice now. Gu Cheng looked down at the shackles on his body, and then looked at the bloodstain outside the cell that had not yet solidified, and swallowed silently. The hesitation and entanglement in his heart disappeared in an instant. After the Krypton life becomes stronger, there is still a glimmer of hope. If you are lucky, you can find a way to prolong your life in the future, but if you are reluctant to give up your Krypton life, you will really die and be chopped into dumplings by the pig monster. Damn it, I got this life for nothing anyway. Let's fight. A gleam of determination flashed across Gu Cheng's eyes, and he looked at his panel. His predecessor had only learned 3 martial arts in total. Rough Bull Fist is a basic boxing method for beginners, with limited practical ability, so I directly passed it. Iron Blade method is a required martial art for grassroots personnel of the Demon Suppression Division, which is easy to learn but difficult to master, and has quite good power. It's a pity that his predecessor had no interest in this sword method, but instead had a special liking for the light skill chasing wind step, because if he practices this leg skill well, he can not only enhance the endurance of the lower 3 routes. It will also make it easier for him to sneak over the wall in the middle of the night and have a tryst with those young ladies who stay alone in their boudoirs. Damn, this guy was a playboy before. He didn't waste his good looks. Alas, if you had put half of your attention into martial arts, why would I need to spend my life practicing now? Gu Cheng recalled the various glorious deeds of his previous life and couldn't help but frown. Then he took a deep breath. He poured his lifespan into the iron-cutting sword technique year by year. On the panel, the number of remaining lifespan began to decrease rapidly, 31, 27, 19, at the same time, the proficiency of the iron-cutting sword technique also began to increase rapidly. First year, you practiced the iron-cutting sword technique hard, but because your body was hollowed out by alcohol and sex, your practice progress was extremely slow. Second year, you practiced hard day and night, and the iron-cutting sword technique broke through the small success realm. Fifth year, you suddenly have a flash of inspiration, gain some knowledge, and your iron-cutting sword skill breaks through the realm of mastery. 13th year, you swing your sword to cut iron, and the refined steel is cut into 2 pieces on the spot. The iron-cutting sword skill breaks through the realm of great success. 30th year, you put your fingers together like swords, and the cold sword energy gathers in your palms, and no sword is better than a sword. The iron-cutting sword skill breaks through the realm of perfection. Remaining lifespan, 7 years, cultivation, 9-fold body tempering. Gu Cheng slowly opened his eyes. In his dark eyes, there was a faint cold light, like a sharp blade out of its sheath. The sharp edge was revealed. Countless experiences and sword skills flowed in his mind and merged into his body, like breathing. It became his instinct. It seemed that he had really devoted himself to practice for 30 years, quitting drinking and sex like a martial arts fanatic, and devoted all his energy and mind to this iron-cutting sword technique. Not only that, Gu Cheng felt his body a little bit, and suddenly felt that he was full of strength. Compared with the body that was overworked and reveled every night before, it was a world of difference. I have practiced swords sincerely for 30 years, and my cultivation has also increased to the 9th level of body tempering. Coupled with the iron-cutting sword technique of the perfect realm, how can these bandits and pig monsters still trap me? Gu Cheng closed the panel, looked around, and his mouth curled up slightly. The root of all fear comes from insufficient firepower. After Krypton's life became stronger, this originally extremely dark and terrifying dungeon became pleasing to the eye at this time. Iron-cutting sword technique focuses on killing, and when practiced to perfection, it can easily cut steel. When practiced to perfection, it can even use sword energy with bare hands to destroy gold and jade. Gu Cheng looked at the handcuffs and shackles on his body, and was about to use his sword energy to cut off the shackles. Squeak! The dungeon door opened, and a heavy footstep came from far away. Gu Cheng stopped what he was doing and looked up. He saw 2 figures, one big and one small, walking straight to his cell. The big one had a pig head and a human body, was fat and had a hideous face. It was the pig demon who killed people just now. The small one was a young man with an ordinary face and a medium build. He was wearing a familiar dark blue brocade robe, and he was also a flag of the Demon Suppression Division. After Gu Cheng's cultivation level was raised to the 9th level of body tempering, his eyesight was also improved significantly. Even though the light in the cell was dim, he recognized the identity of the person at a glance. Wang Lin, it turned out to be you. Gu Cheng looked at the young man in brocade clothes, and his eyes were filled with murderous intent. This guy named Wang Lin is also an old friend of his. The two of them had been at odds in the Demon Suppression Division because of jealousy, and they had often tripped each other up in secret. Now they met under such circumstances. It was clear who was the traitor who leaked the information. Chapter 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hey, Master Gu, how is it? Doesn't it feel good in this dungeon? Wang Lin looked at the young man in the cell with a playful smile, and mocked. It's only been 2 months since your centurion father died, and you, a waste, are used to explore the way. It saves me a lot of trouble. But it's no wonder. After all, apart from being born with a good appearance and having a good father, what else is there to praise? Humph, that's better than you, a traitor who works as a dog for demons. Gu Cheng quietly gathered the knife energy and mocked calmly. If your father knew that you would go along with demons, he would definitely regret why he didn't shoot you, a beast, on the wall. You fucking. Wang Lin was furious and was about to draw his knife on the spot. A big hand like a palm leaf fan stopped him. Don't use the knife, do you want to die? The pig demon grinned and revealed 2 huge fangs, and warned in a muffled voice. My young master has taken a fancy to his skin and wants to use him as the raw material for transformation. The secret method of transformation requires his human skin to be peeled off alive. You killed him with a knife now, do you want to use your own human skin to replace it? Gu Cheng's expression changed slightly when he heard this. Fuck, no wonder he has been alive until now after being captured. It turns out that he was waiting here. This man is too handsome, which is also a problem. Not only is he coveted by the young widows in the city, but even the demons have other plans for him. I dare not, I dare not. Wang Lin smiled awkwardly and flattered the pig demon. Master Pig, if you are flexible, I will kick him twice to vent my anger, but I will not hurt his life. Well, be clean and don't hit him in the face. The pig demon had obviously received benefits from Wang Lin before. After giving him a few instructions, he opened the iron door of the cell with the key. Wang Lin thanked him again, and then walked into the cell with a grim smile on his face, but after being in the same room with Gu Cheng, a sense of uneasiness rose in his heart for no reason. It was like a cock showing off its might, mistakenly entering a cage of tigers, but after noticing the handcuffs and shackles on Gu Cheng, this sense of uneasiness quickly disappeared. Why aren't you talking? Young Master Gu, are you so scared that your tongue is tied when you heard that you're going to be skinned and pulled out? Wang Lin approached slowly, with an even bigger smile on his face. Just go with peace of mind. I'll take good care of your beautiful fiancée when I have the chance. Now, I'll collect some interest in advance. After saying that, he looked ferocious, raised his right foot, and stepped on Gu Cheng's legs. Just as this kick that would cut off his descendants was about to fall, Gu Cheng's body suddenly moved. The cold knife energy moved with his heart, easily cutting off the shackles on his hands and feet, and the fragments flew everywhere. After his limbs were freed, Gu Cheng kicked and knocked Wang Lin to the ground. At the same time, he stepped forward, pulled out the knife from his waist, and rushed towards the pig demon outside the cell like an arrow. Catch the king first. Compared to Wang Lin, the trash, the big and strong pig demon was obviously more threatening. Swish, in the dim dungeon, a silver light swept through the air, cold and dazzling. Facing this long-planned killing move, the pig demon, who was eating melons and watching the show, had no time to react at all. I only felt a flash of light in front of my eyes, a sharp pain in my neck, and then I completely lost consciousness. The hideous pig head rolled down, and the fat body fell to the ground. Like a meat mountain, the dark red demon blood gushed out, overlapping with the blood marks dragged out before, emitting a disgusting fishy smell. One knife to behead. Gu Cheng held the knife in one hand, and blood slowly dripped from the tip of the knife. The cold eyes turned to look at the dumbfounded traitor in the cell. You. Wang Lin sat on the ground, looking at the pig demon with its head and body separated. His mind was blank. What happened? After not seeing him for a few days, how come this idiot who only knew how to pick up girls suddenly became so powerful? Could it be that he had been pretending to be a pig to eat the tiger before? Seeing Gu Cheng coming towards him with a knife, Wang Lin was immediately scared to death. He was about to beg for mercy. Gu Cheng took 2 steps forward, raised his leg and kicked him with a kick that could cut off his descendants, perfectly replicating the other party's previous action. Crack. The sound of chickens flying and eggs breaking was particularly crisp. Ah! Wang Lin was hit hard by this, and he immediately let out a pig-killing scream, almost fainting from the pain. Gu Cheng frowned slightly, swung a knife, and cut his neck. The cell was instantly quiet. Humph, you bastard got it. Gu Cheng shook off the blood on the long sword and curled his lips in dissatisfaction. Regardless of the past and present lives, this kind of traitor who betrayed his compatriots was the most despised existence for him. If there were no more important things now, he would never let Wang Lin die so easily. The iron-cutting sword technique of the perfect realm is really powerful. I am afraid that even if I don't sneak attack, this man and this monster are far from my opponent. Gu Cheng stroked the handle of the sword in his hand, feeling the feeling as if it was an extension of his limbs, and his mood was very calm. It was obviously the first time to kill people and monsters, but his smooth movements just now seemed as if he had practiced thousands of times. It can be seen that this Krypton Life System also gave him matching combat experience when improving the martial arts realm. If the price is not too high, it is really a good shortcut to become stronger. It is not advisable to stay here for a long time. After Gu Cheng looted the corpse, he was about to take the opportunity to escape from here. New information suddenly popped up on the system panel. Kill the pig demon in the tempering body realm, and get lifespan, 44 years. Kill the evil cultivator in the tempering body realm, and get lifespan, 3 years. Remaining lifespan, 54 years. Gu Cheng looked at the prompt on the panel, and his breathing stagnated, and his heartbeat suddenly accelerated. Good guy, this lifespan is actually getting more and more, so your life-saving system is not for me to save my own life, but to save other people's lives. Gu Cheng almost laughed out loud. According to the meaning of this system, all the demons and evil cultivators he killed personally can get the corresponding lifespan. As long as he kills enough, his lifespan will be endless. With this infinite lifespan, he can use it to infuse martial arts skills and become stronger. That's not to mention humans. Even a stupid pig can be smashed into a demon clan saint under the infusion of endless lifespan. This is the real use of the Krypton Life System. Seeing a smooth road to the top, it was laid out in front of him. Gu Cheng rubbed his hands, and his mind suddenly became active. Before, he was thinking about running away quickly while the enemy didn't notice and cherishing the remaining life, but now, the offense and defense have changed. It's not easy to get into the enemy's interior. If you don't take the opportunity to increase your life, wouldn't it be a waste of this great opportunity? And just like Wang Lin said just now, since his father, the Centurion, passed away, Gu Cheng's situation in the Demon Suppression Division has not been very optimistic. If you don't seize the opportunity to become stronger now, if you encounter an accident in the future, you will really regret it. Sharpening the knife does not delay the chopping of wood. Since there are monsters to kill now, there is no need to reserve too much life. More strength means more insurance. Iron cutting knife technique has been perfected, and bull fist is too basic. After thinking for a while, Gu Cheng spent his remaining lifespan on wind chasing step year by year. The number representing lifespan on the panel began to decrease rapidly again. Chapter 3. You are listening at novelfull.audio. First year, you practiced the wind chasing step day and night. Since you have reached the 9th level of the body tempering, you can achieve twice the result with half the effort. 4th year, you practiced diligently, and your body was like a gust of wind. The wind chasing step broke through the great accomplishment realm. 10th year, you seem to have a talent for Qigong. After years of hard practice, you have achieved the perfection realm. At the same time, you vaguely feel that perfection is not the real limit of this martial art. Remaining lifespan, 44 years. Did you reach perfection in just 10 years? Gu Cheng moved his body slightly. Suddenly he felt as if he had unloaded a bag of flour. His body was indescribably light and refreshing. With a light jump, he was 3 or 4 feet high. With one step, he was 7 or 8 feet away, the so-called light as a swallow. Nothing is better than this. I never thought that this body technique would have such an amazing effect after being cultivated to perfection. What will it be like to reach a state above perfection? Seeing that there are still 44 years left in life, Gu Cheng licked his lips and continued to strike while the iron is hot. Year 1, you continue to practice the already perfected chasing wind step, wanting to explore the true limit of this martial art. Year 3, you are running fast in the field, with the wind whistling in your ears. You suddenly feel that the sound of the wind is a bit harsh, and you vaguely find the direction of breakthrough in your heart. Year 7, you try to completely integrate your breath into the wind, but because you have practiced too little martial arts and lack reference objects, your deduction progress is very slow. Year 34, after countless attempts, you finally succeeded. You no longer chase the wind, but turn yourself into the wind. Your wind-chasing step breaks through the limit and comprehends the ultimate meaning of martial arts. Not only is your body movement faster, but you can also blend your breath into the wind. You combine its ability characteristics and name this passive skill, Breath Shield, remaining lifespan, 10 years, martial arts learned, Rough Bull Fist, minor success, Iron Cutting Sword skill, perfection, Wind Chasing Step, ultimate meaning, Breath Shield. Entry, minor success, mastery, great success, perfection. And the sixth realm above this perfect realm, ultimate meaning, is to break through the original limit of martial arts and comprehend a more profound martial arts mystery. Gu Cheng slowly opened his eyes, thinking in his heart, the wind-chasing step in the ultimate meaning realm not only has a completely improved speed, and after comprehending the mystery of Breath Shield, the sharp and powerful momentum on Gu Cheng's body suddenly became low-key and restrained, like a sword sheathed, when concentrating and holding back the breath. No matter how much you move, you won't make any sound. Even if you sneak up behind the enemy will only think it's a breeze blowing by, and can't sense the arrival of the god of death at all. This effect has completely transcended the scope of ordinary martial arts. It's not an exaggeration to say that it is a magical power to restrain the breath. The only drawback is that this extreme realm martial arts takes too long. The lifespan of ordinary people is only 100 years, how can they be so extravagant as to spend most of their lives fighting against an ordinary martial arts? But, this shortcoming is nothing to me. Gu Cheng's mouth curled up slightly, lifespan. What I don't lack the most is lifespan. As long as he kills enough demons and evil cultivators, his lifespan is almost endless. After hundreds and thousands of years, even if it is a more advanced martial arts technique, he has the confidence to Krypton it to the maximum level. How can those so-called martial arts geniuses compare with a Kryptonian player like him? With the assassination skill of breath concealment, Gu Cheng felt relieved, tightened the long knife at his waist, quietly left the dungeon and came to the outside world. It was late at night, the moon was bright and the breeze was blowing. Under the moonlight, the whole bandit camp seemed like a sleeping beast. It didn't realize that it had been targeted by an insidious hunter. The hunt has begun. Gu Cheng hid in the shadows and concentrated on observing the movements around him. After discovering a few patrolling bandits who were alone, his eyes lit up. He immediately performed the wind-chasing step, like a cool night wind, quietly touched over, just when someone was playing the real-life version of Assassin's Creed and assassinating the bandits one by one. Bandit camp, near the kitchen. 3 big pig demons were sitting around the campfire, enjoying their midnight snack. There were a few leftover human bones scattered on the ground. If nothing unexpected happened, it should be the one from before, the unlucky guy who was dragged away. The bonfire was burning brightly, shining on the fat pig faces of the 3-headed pig monster, making them look even more hideous and terrifying. What do you think, young master? A painted-faced pig demon was holding a roasted arm, gnawing on it, and asked his 2 companions beside him. If you want to transform into human skin, just go to the nearby villages and towns and rob them openly. Anyway, those people from the Demon Suppression Division are all softies. Why do you have to hide and mix with a bunch of bandits? You know shit. A pig demon with a broken fang spat out a piece of bone and curled his lips in disdain. Haven't you heard? A very powerful monster catcher has recently come to Changle County. Several big monsters who were hunting outside were killed by that guy. As the most favored youngest son of the king, the young master has such a strong talent, so he naturally has to stay out of the spotlight and act in secret. Ah! Monster catcher. The painted-faced pig demon was shocked. Compared to the Changle County Demon Suppression Division, they are a bunch of good-for-nothings who only bully the weak and fear the strong. These overstepping demon hunters are the ones that give the demons of Black Wind Mountain the most headaches. If you are not careful and are targeted by a demon hunter, you will be in great danger. But the young master is lucky. Not long after he came out, a nice skin came to him. Another red-haired pig demon took a sip of liquor and smacked his lips. That boy from the Demon Suppression Division has delicate skin and tender flesh. He must taste good. When the young master peels off his skin, we can have another meal. Well, but if you want to talk about good luck, the human woman that the young master kidnapped before is really the best of the best. The broken-toothed pig demon smiled and groped his crotch and said, I really didn't expect that there would be such a beautiful beauty among the human race. It's a good thing that the young master can hold back and wait until he successfully transforms before touching her. If it were me. Nonsense. The red-haired pig demon sneered. Don't you think about it? The young master is so big. If he doesn't turn into a human form, he will crush the beauty to death on the spot. If he dies, he dies. It's not useless. Ha ha ha. The three pig monsters laughed like pigs. The painted-faced pig monster laughed the loudest. Before he could swallow the food in his mouth, a piece of broken bone got stuck in his throat. The foreign body in his throat made him feel very uncomfortable. The painted-faced pig monster opened his mouth and was about to reach out to pick it, but the foreign body feeling suddenly disappeared. Instead, there was a piercing pain. Puff! A sharp long knife stabbed out of the pig's mouth, then he slashed it hard, cutting the ugly pig head in two on the spot. The hot demon blood gushed out, soaking the faces of the other two pig monsters. The ugly pig laughter stopped abruptly. Broken Tooth and Red Hair were stunned for a few seconds, looking at the corpse of the clown-faced pig demon with only half of its head left, thinking that they were hallucinating. However, the warm touch of the demon's blood and the smell of blood that hit them were ruthlessly proving that everything in front of them was real. Enemy attack. Broken Tooth and Red Hair were horrified and quickly withdrew. Their fat bodies showed an agility that was not in line with the style of the painting. The two pig demons widened their eyes and looked closely. A tall figure holding a long knife was standing quietly behind the corpse of the pig demon, with a cold expression. It was the boy from the Demon Suppression Division who was tender and delicious in their mouths. Chapter 4. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It's you. Aren't you locked up in the dungeon? The broken-toothed pig demon stared at Gu Cheng, his heart filled with shock and anger. What's wrong with this kid? A few days ago, he was still a coward who was frightened when he saw a demon. How come he suddenly became a different person now? And is he silent when he walks? He was touched behind him, but the three of them didn't notice it at all. He's just like a ghost. The broken-toothed pig demon was like a formidable enemy, and didn't dare to act rashly. The other red-haired pig demon, on the other hand, was a stubborn and violent person. After discovering the murderer who killed his companion, his eyes were immediately bloodshot, and he rushed forward regardless of anything. Fuck you. I'll kill you. The pig demon clan has always been known for its brute force. When they are furious, the momentum of the charge is even more terrifying, perfectly interpreting what pigs rush forward means. Are you in such a hurry to reincarnate? Gu Cheng's figure flashed, like a piece of paper blown by the breeze, and he easily dodged the pig demon's brutal collision. At the moment when the man and the demon crossed each other, Gu Cheng boldly drew his knife and stabbed it into the heart of the red-haired pig demon at an extremely tricky angle. The sharp knife energy immediately turned the opponent's internal organs into meat paste. Puff! The red-haired pig demon spurted blood, and the corpse continued to rush forward by inertia. Before it fell to the ground, Gu Cheng stepped with the wind and flashed to the front of the last pig demon. The broken-toothed pig demon was so scared that his soul was about to die, and he turned his head to escape. But how could this fat beast be faster than the extreme state of chasing wind steps? Swish! The cold knife light flashed by. The eyes of the broken-toothed pig demon were wide open, and his body froze in place. A blood mark slowly emerged on his fat neck, and then it sprayed out rolling demon blood like a reservoir bursting its dam. In an instant, all three pig demons died, in front of the iron-cutting sword technique of the perfect realm. The savage bodies that these pig demons were proud of were not much stronger than the pigs raised in captivity. As long as you can take advantage of the speed advantage to seize the opportunity, it's a matter of one knife per kill. Kill the pig demon in the tempering realm, get lifespan, 47 years. Kill the pig demon in the tempering realm, get lifespan, 45 years. Kill the pig demon in the tempering realm, get lifespan, 51 years. Strange, although they are both in the tempering realm, killing demons is far more cost-effective than killing people. Is it because the strength is too different, or because of the different species. Gu Cheng wiped the blood on the pig demon's body with a knife, looked at the record on the panel, and muttered to himself, before attacking the 3 pig monsters, he had secretly assassinated 3 lone bandits along the way, the most generous of them only rewarded 5 years of life, compared with the pig monsters of the same realm. It was nearly 10 times more. With these 3 high-quality pig monsters in his account, Gu Cheng's remaining lifespan has directly exceeded 3 digits and soared to 164 years. This means that as long as he can kill all the way, his lifespan will definitely increase. It's a pity that this group of pig monsters sneaked out from the Black Wind Mountain. There are not many of them, only 5 in total. Gu Cheng recalled the intelligence he had collected before. 4 of the 5 pig monsters have become his dead souls, the only survivor is the leading pig monster master. Gu Cheng also has a little understanding of the demon forces around Changle County. In his impression, the pig demon clan entrenched on the Black Wind Mountain is not only powerful, but also extremely vengeful and difficult to deal with. Even the local Demon Suppression Office dare not easily provoke these beasts, lest they be retaliated by them in the future. This pig demon master is the most favored youngest son of the pig demon king. It is obviously not a wise choice to provoke it. But it has set its sights on my skin. Even if I can escape for a while, it will inevitably be remembered by it. Gu Cheng frowned and looked cold. He is not a person who likes to keep overnight grudges, and he hates this uncontrollable potential threat even more. Since you want my skin, you have already found a way to die. It must be killed as soon as possible. Gu Cheng thought for a moment, and quickly finalized the battle plan in his mind. His figure flashed and disappeared on the spot, the firewood in the bonfire crackled, the bright firelight shone on the corpse of the pig demon, which was still open-eyed, and looked extremely terrifying. About an incense stick of time passed, a slender figure slowly walked out from the shadows nearby. This person was wearing a black hooded robe and a bronze mask. He could not see his appearance at all and was very mysterious, but from the faintly visible body curve under the black robe, this person, the mysterious masked man, should be a woman. Interesting. Was I intercepted by someone? Could it be that besides me, there are other demon hunters near Changle County? That the female demon hunter took 2 steps forward and lowered her head to check the bodies of the 3 pig demons. She found that all 3 demons were killed by a single knife, and the wounds were smooth and flat, like a hot knife cutting wax. Accurate. Fierce. Swift. Without decades of hard work, this is impossible. Look at the remaining sword energy. Is this the iron-cutting sword technique? Could it be someone from the Demon Suppression Division? Strange, isn't it said that the Demon Suppression Division branch in Changle County has long been rotten? How can someone dare to come alone to kill demons? That the female demon hunter blinked her eyes, very curious. This time, she was entrusted by someone to come and rescue a rich daughter who was kidnapped by bandits, but I never thought that this group of bandits not only colluded with demons, but also attracted a mysterious swordsman. With the intervention of many parties, this matter suddenly became interesting. Hee, I want to see who you are. That the female demon catcher suddenly became interested. After concentrating and sensing for a moment, she restrained her breath and followed the direction where Gu Cheng had just left quietly. In the dark night, the whole bandit camp was silent. Suddenly, a flame shot up into the sky, which was particularly conspicuous in this dark night. The flames burned more and more, igniting the granary near the kitchen, and spreading along the surrounding wooden houses in an instant. And this amazing change naturally woke up all the sleeping bandits. It's on fire. It's on fire. Fuck, what are those night watchers doing? Are they slacking off? They didn't even call for help when there was a fire. Stop talking nonsense, you guys, hurry up and put out the fire. That the bandits were like headless flies, and they were in a mess in an instant. After discovering the bodies of the pig monsters, the chaos reached its peak. The little brothers knew exactly what the strength of these pig monsters was. Not only were they thick-skinned and hard to be injured by swords, but they were also extremely powerful. 12 strong men were not enough for the pig monster to beat with one hand. Now they were killed so quietly. Obviously they encountered an extremely difficult enemy. Fear and panic were brewing in the crowd. The 2 timid bandits ran away on the spot in the direction outside the camp. However, they didn't run far. The ground beneath their feet seemed to come alive, transforming into two sharp stone spears, which pierced the two deserters into skewers on the spot. The bandits' anus tightened when they saw this, and they all fell silent. Such a representative magic naturally evoked some very bad memories for them, and they were so scared that they dared not even breathe. After a while, with a slight tremor in the earth, the soil turned up, a pig demon wearing gorgeous animal skin, holding a war spear, and with red eyes slowly floated up from the ground. The size of this pig demon was at least 2 circles larger than that of an ordinary individual, like a small mountain, and it was extremely oppressive. The 2 huge fangs were as white as jade, and they were decorated with golden rings. At first glance, it was a noble among the demons with a prominent status. Obviously, it was the boss behind this gang of bandits, the youngest son of the Black Wind Mountain Boar Demon King, the Pig Demon Young Master. Chapter 5. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Big Boss. The bandits looked at the majestic figure, swallowed their saliva, and greeted him in unison. Yeah. The young master of the pig demon nodded slightly, swept his cold eyes over everyone, and turned to look at the fire beside him. The majestic demon rose from it, showing its amazing power. Seeing this scene, the bandits were so frightened that their faces turned pale and their bodies trembled like sieves. Why are you all standing there? The young master of the pig demon said without turning his head. Why don't you go put out the fire? Yes. The bandits fled from here in a hurry as if they had been pardoned. The young master of the pig demon licked his lips and slowly walked to the bodies of the 3 pig demons. After carefully observing it for a moment, he sneered and said, "Humph, you didn't even invite me for supper, you deserve to be killed." That the young master of the pig demon spat, clenched the spear in his hand, raised his head, and shouted loudly to all directions. Come out. Stop hiding. I know you haven't gone far, come out and fight me if you dare. That the young master of the pig demon looked arrogant and extremely arrogant. Under the light of the fire, the majestic body dragged a long shadow on the ground. However, no matter how it challenged, there was no response except the whistling night wind. Are you scared away by me? Humph, what a coward. The young master of the pig demon spat lightly and was about to use the secret method of escaping underground to go back and take care of its little beauty. Puff. A sharp pain suddenly came from behind. The young master of the pig demon was horrified, roared, and swung the spear in his hand backwards. At the same time, it urged the magic, and dozens of ground spikes rose from the ground and stabbed at the sneak attacker. The latter's body shook, and he jumped high like a big bird, easily dodged the double attack of the spear and the ground spikes, and then landed steadily on the ground. What a hard pig skin. Gu Cheng glanced at the blood on the long knife, with a look of surprise on his face. The strength of the pig demon in front of him was slightly beyond his expectations. The piercing attack that should have been a sure thing, under the obstruction of an invisible force, finally only penetrated an inch of flesh. If nothing unexpected happened, this should be some kind of ability similar to the body protection chi. Why is it you? After seeing Gu Cheng's appearance clearly, the young master of the pig demon flashed a trace of surprise on his ferocious face, then it showed a look of realization and sneered. So that's how it is. You deliberately hid your abilities before just to sneak in and attack secretly, right? What a good plan. I didn't expect that there is such a ruthless person like you in the government office of the Demon Suppression Department. The young master of the pig demon had a fierce light in his eyes, and the evil spirit on his body was rising steadily. What a pity. I originally wanted to use your skin as my transformation material. But now, I'm afraid you can't leave a complete body. As soon as the voice fell, the young master of the pig demon stepped hard on the ground, and his majestic body rushed towards Gu Cheng like a cannonball. In the whistling wind, the momentum of this rapid charge alone was several times stronger than the previous red-haired pig demon. Do all you pig demons like to play this trick? Gu Cheng flew back, dodged the opponent's pig's rush, and slashed several knives with his backhand. The sharp blade flashed by. The tough skin of the young master of the pig demon was immediately scratched with blood marks. However, considering the huge body of the other party, this degree of external injury is at most a scratch on the skin, which does not pose a threat to life. Gu Cheng wanted to add a few more slashes, but the spear that smashed down forced him to withdraw and dodge. The two sides continued to fight for more than 10 rounds, but in the end, neither of them could do anything to the other. This is like an assassin with full displacement points against a tank with full defense, one is barely damaging, and the other can't even touch the other. For a while, the two sides were deadlocked. At the same time, the female demon catcher was hiding not far away, and she had a full view of the battle between the man and the demon. What a handsome body movement! Is this the speed that a warrior in the body-tempering realm can have? And this sharp sword energy, it is obvious that he has practiced the iron-cutting sword technique to perfection. At such a young age, he can practice sword and body skills to such a level. Can a small place like Changle County actually produce such a martial arts genius? It's a pity that the pig demon has awakened his innate magical power, otherwise he would still have a great chance of winning. The female demon catcher stared at the battle in the distance and shook her head slightly. The Chi and Blood Realm demon has its own demonic body protection. After awakening the innate magical power of the Earth system, the defense of the body is even more amazing. With the superposition of these two, it is obvious that a perfect iron-cutting sword technique alone cannot cause fatal damage. The demoness, the physical strength is naturally stronger than that of humans, and the endurance is also more durable, if both sides continue to waste time like this. That kid from the Demon Suppression Division will definitely not get any good, and it is only a matter of time before he loses. But you are lucky, with me here, you will definitely be fine. That the corners of the female demon catcher's mouth curled up slightly under the mask. The world of martial arts is not about fighting and killing, but about human relationships. Such a young martial arts genius will definitely not be a common thing in the future. If you can help him in times of crisis and sell him a favor, it will obviously be a good investment. On the other side, Gu Cheng, who was fighting with the pig demon, naturally also realized the limit of the iron-cutting knife method. Now there are two choices in front of him: either run away directly, anyway, with the extreme state of chasing wind steps, the other party will definitely not be able to catch up with him. As for what kind of troubles will be involved in the future, we can only plan for the long term. Or Krypton Life before the battle, directly break through the limit of the iron cutting sword technique, and kill the beast on the spot to eliminate future troubles. For Gu Cheng, who never likes to leave grudges overnight, his final choice is actually obvious. Swish. Gu Cheng retreated violently, dodged the sneak attack of several ground spikes, and temporarily distanced himself from the young master of the pig demon. He glanced at the panel distractedly. Remaining life, 164 years. Enough. Gu Cheng looked grim, and poured his life into the iron-cutting sword technique. At the same time, he clenched the long sword in his hand and continued to fight with the pig demon. The process of Krypton Life training is purely dependent on the system hanging up, which does not hinder his current battle, as his body turned and moved, and his sword was as fast as the wind. The remaining life of the young man began to decrease rapidly. First year, you continue to comprehend the iron cutting sword technique, and want to use it to break through your own limits. 7th year, you practiced hard with your sword every day, and your sword skills have improved slightly. What's going on? The young master of the pig demon who was fighting with Gu Cheng suddenly frowned. I don't know if it's an illusion, but this kid from the Demon Suppression Division who is as slippery as a loach seems to be getting stronger and stronger. This feeling is very subtle, but the demon's strong intuition about danger makes it more and more uneasy. Fuck you, what a joke. Is this kid a genius who can break through in the battle of life and death and turn defeat into victory? We must fight quickly. The young master of the pig demon had a fierce light in his eyes, and he tightened his weapon in his hand and suddenly accelerated the rhythm of the attack. Sneak attack with ground spikes, swinging spears, stabbing with fangs, crushing with heavy punches. Various vicious killing moves of the pig demon clan took turns to fight. Under the fierce attack, Gu Cheng was beaten back step by step, and could only rely on his flexible body to dodge, looking like he was about to be forced into a desperate situation. Oh. Is it finally my turn? The female monster catcher saw that Gu Cheng had fallen into an absolute disadvantage, and immediately straightened her body. Just as she was rubbing her hands and thinking about how she should save people in a handsome way, the battle situation in the distance suddenly changed amazingly. Chapter 6. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Year 37, you gradually realize that the limit of swordsmanship does not lie in the moves themselves, but in the person who uses the sword. Without breaking, there is no building. You decide to temper your body with sword energy, wanting to find another way and break through your own limits. Year 83, after years of hard training, your physical strength has been significantly improved, reaching a whole new realm. You suddenly realize that the iron-cutting sword technique breaks through the limit, and comprehends a secret method of using sword energy to stimulate blood and chi, and improve your combat power in a short period of time. You summarize and name this style, One Sword Shura. Remaining lifespan, 81 years, cultivation, first level of blood and chi. Bang! Bang! The heart beats vigorously in the chest, the hot blood flows endlessly in the body, bringing up a wild and primitive force, the power of blood and chi. Boom! It's as if an invisible shackle on the body has been removed. Gu Cheng, who was in a tough fight, suddenly trembled slightly, and his momentum rose sharply. More than 80 years of hard training experience kept echoing in his mind, and he absorbed it all in the blink of an eye and mastered it. Gu Cheng clenched the long sword in his hand, the invisible sword energy that was originally lingering on the blade, under the blessing of the blood power, instantly covered with a touch of blood, exuding a compelling murderous aura. You fucking. The young master of the pig demon saw that this guy actually broke through, and his mind was shocked. The ferocious pig face was full of confusion and fear. Isn't it, still playing like this? Breaking through in battle when you can't beat him? What kind of monster talent is this? With this kid's terrifying talent, within 3 years, he will become a major threat to our Black Wind Mountain Demon clan. We must inform my father as soon as possible and strangle this kid in the cradle. That the young master of the pig demon stared at the blood-colored long sword, and the uneasiness in his heart instantly reached the extreme. Even though it was very confident in its own defense, it did not dare to continue fighting with this evil enemy. He immediately waved his spear and controlled the magic to raise several stone walls to block in front of him. Trying to delay time, he quickly activated the secret method of escaping underground, trying to escape from here. Want to escape? Gu Cheng snorted coldly and activated the sword energy with all his strength. Under the traction of the blood-colored sword energy, the blood around him began to boil, and his skin flushed slightly. The momentum on his body actually surged again. Swish! Gu Cheng stepped hard, and 2 small pits appeared on the ground, and his figure suddenly disappeared from the spot. With his extreme artistic conception, his speed was far beyond that of his peers. Now that his body was in an overclocked state, he left a series of afterimages. The young master of the pig demon felt a flash in front of his eyes, and the boy from the Demon Suppression Division was like a ghost, and he swish appeared in front of him and jumped high at the same time. Die! Gu Cheng shouted angrily, holding the knife with both hands, and all the boiling blood and energy in his body were gathered on the blade. The scarlet blade instantly glowed with blood, and a 3-foot-long blade light extended out of thin air, and with the blessing of his whole body strength and endless killing intent, he slashed it down with a bang. The power of this knife was really terrible. The strong wind brought by the downward slash alone blew the fat on the face of the young master of the pig demon slightly deformed. Ah! The young master of the pig demon screamed, and seeing that he had no way to avoid it, he immediately placed his spear horizontally in front of him. At the same time, he used all his strength to activate the demon in his body, trying to take this killing move head-on. But how could a pig demon who had just entered the chi and blood realm resist this knife with more than 80 years of skill? Puff! The bull-thick steel spear was cut off by a knife, as easy as a hot knife cutting wax. The scarlet blade was still fierce, and it slashed fiercely on the head of the young master of the pig demon. After being blocked by the demon and the skull for a moment, it continued to cut down effortlessly. No! With a shrill scream, the 3-meter-away majestic body of the young master of the pig demon was neatly cut into 2 pieces from head to tail, like a fat pig slaughtered during the new year, and fell to both sides. Blood mixed with internal organs flowed out, the stench was overwhelming, and the ground was in a mess. This previously arrogant pig demon was killed in one blow. The fire in the distance was getting stronger and stronger, and the wooden house was crackling like firewood. The bright firelight shone on the only winner standing on the battlefield, casting a long shadow. Is this the power of blood? He actually broke through in the battle. The female demon hunter looked at the slender and upright figure, her watery eyes widened. She really didn't expect that this kind of plot that only existed in vernacular novels would be witnessed by her own eyes. What shocked her even more was that the power of the knife just now had far exceeded the limit of the iron-cutting knife technique. Could it be that this is the secret of martial arts that he deduced by himself? Oh my God, what a waste of talent. He is obviously a knife genius, but he actually spent so much energy on a mundane knife technique. Is it because he lacks a more advanced knife technique secret book? If that's the case. The female demon catcher's eyes moved slightly. There was no chance of saving people at the checkpoint, but she might be able to invest in this martial arts genius in another way. On the other side, Gu Cheng looked at the body of the pig demon master that was cut into 2 pieces, and exhaled a breath of turbid air. The boiling blood gradually subsided, the flushed skin color returned to normal, and the blood-colored knife light on the long knife also dissipated. Following closely, there were bursts of soreness in the muscles all over the body. It was as if I had just trained hard in the gym yesterday. Very sour and refreshing. Hiss, no wonder it's called one-sword Shura, because after using this move, you can only cut once. Gu Cheng rubbed his sore muscles and secretly complained in his heart. Iron sword technique broke through to the ultimate realm. Although it was beyond the shackles of ordinary sword techniques, only that one sword seemed to be so. If he continued to work hard, he might be able to create a complete chi and blood realm sword technique based on this one sword, but doing so is a bit too troublesome. It's better to think of a way later and get a ready-made one directly. Gu Cheng calmed down and looked at the updated information on the panel. Kill the chi and blood realm first stage earth armor pig demon, and obtain lifespan 136 years. Remaining lifespan 287 years. Heh, this pig demon king's youngest son is quite generous. It's worth my hard work for so long. If we count the scum who helped Shou to commit atrocities, it should be 300 years, right? Gu Cheng turned sideways and looked back, his eyes cold. I saw that the bandits who had left before were rushing back with buckets to put out the fire. Big boss. The bandits came closer, looked at the 2 pieces of the pig demon corpse on the ground, and then glanced at the figure holding a knife next to the corpse, and they all took a breath of cold air. Then they threw down the buckets in their hands without saying a word, turned around and ran. What a joke. In the blink of an eye, the big boss was chopped into 2 like a pig being slaughtered. How could they, a bunch of traitors who colluded with demons, get away with it? Heh, you run pretty fast, but, can you escape? My lifespan. Gu Cheng's mouth curled up with a cold arc. He immediately used the wind-chasing step, and chased after him silently like a killing autumn wind. After a while, the shrill and desperate screams began to sound in the dark night, and they did not stop for a long time. Chapter 7. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Puff, the cold blade slashed across the neck of the last bandit, bringing up a stream of hot blood. The corpse collapsed to the ground powerlessly, twitched a few times, and then stopped moving. This gang of bandits that wreaked havoc in the suburbs of Changle County has completely become history. Done. Gu Cheng shook off the blood on the long knife and looked at the record on the panel. Kill the evil cultivator in the tempering body realm, and get lifespan, 3 years. Kill the evil cultivator in the tempering body realm, and get lifespan, 2 years. This group of bandits are a bunch of rabble, and the benefits are naturally extremely low, but the advantage is that there are enough of them. More than 50 bandits together have been rewarded with a total lifespan of nearly 70 years. Which is also a good income. The finishing work is over. Gu Cheng gripped the hilt tightly, turned around and looked at the black-robed masked man who took the initiative to show his figure not far behind him. You have been watching the battle in secret for so long, and now you suddenly show up. What is the matter? Gu Cheng was alert and looked at the other party quietly. Judging from the bronze mask on the other party's face, the identity of the mysterious black-robed man is most likely the popular monster catcher. The female monster catcher did not answer Gu Cheng's question, but walked straight to the corpse of the pig monster master. After carefully observing for a moment, she shook her head and said regretfully, "It's a pity that this pig monster broke through the chi and blood realm in such a short time that even the monster core has not been fully condensed. If you kill it again in a few years, you may get another excellent Earth-type monster core." The voice under the mask is crisp and pleasant, like a stream flowing through a mountain stream, which sounds very comfortable. Judging from the voice alone, the other party's ability is probably no more than 20 years old. Gu Cheng was a little surprised by the other party's voice, but he didn't think much about it. He shook his head and retorted. There's nothing to regret. If this beast lives a few more years, who knows how many people it will kill. And it's just a demon core. There are so many demons on Black Wind Mountain, how can there be a shortage of demon cores? Ha, well said. The female demon catcher clapped her hands and chuckled, looking at the young man with praise. No wonder you dare to use yourself as bait to kill demons. Your courage and awareness are really admirable. Gu Cheng was a little speechless for a while. How can he use himself as bait? It's clear that he was sold out by the trader and was forced to fight his way out. Okay, stop talking nonsense, little brother, let's make a deal. The female demon catcher reached out and touched her belt, and a book appeared out of thin air in her hand like a magic trick. I came here this time because the head of the Chen family asked me to rescue his precious daughter. I owed the old head a favor. To save face, I must personally send the daughter of the Chen family back intact. Daughter of the Chen family? Gu Cheng was slightly startled, and a trace of embarrassment flashed in his eyes. The daughter of the Chen family was the rich lady who was kidnapped by the bandits this time, and the unlucky girl who was regarded as the wife of the pig demon master. Before, Gu Cheng was so busy killing that he almost forgot about the main task of rescuing the hostages, but then again, his original mission was just to spy on intelligence. But he killed all the enemies. Does this count as overfulfilling the mission? Gu Cheng put these messy thoughts behind his head, sheathed his sword, and asked the other party. So the deal you mentioned is to exchange what you have in your hand for my contribution? Yes, this sword technique secret book is my compensation to you. The female demon hunter nodded and threw the book in her hand forward, as if being pulled by a pair of invisible hands. The sword technique secret book floated slowly in front of the young man like a feather. Seeing this, Gu Cheng was secretly surprised. He reached out to take the book, flipped through a few pages, and suddenly there was a new prompt on the panel. Qi Shui Wind and Thunder Sword Technique. Not yet started. Qi Shui Realm Sword Technique. Gu Cheng's eyes lit up immediately. This is a very advanced martial art. It may take an ordinary person 30 to 50 years to get started. The female demon hunter stared at the young man and continued. But I believe that with your talent, you will be able to understand it easily, right? Gu Cheng remained silent and thought quickly in his heart. In order to avoid more trouble, he was forced to kill the young master of the pig demon, but he also made a deadly feud with the notorious pig demon king on the Black Wind Mountain. Now someone is willing to take the initiative to take the blame, attract the hatred of the pig demon king, and also give him the Qi and blood realm swordsmanship that he urgently needs. Gu Cheng again, how could there be any reason to refuse? He agreed immediately and straightforwardly. The fire in the camp burned more and more fiercely, and soon spread to the nearby houses. The flames that shot up into the sky seemed to light up the entire night sky. The female demon catcher chatted with Gu Cheng for a few more words, and then the two searched the camp together, and soon found the place where the pig demon was hiding. The female demon catcher walked into the tent alone. After a while, when she came out, she was carrying a huge black shadow on her slender shoulders. Gu Cheng looked up and thought that she had caught another pig demon that had escaped the net, and subconsciously wanted to draw his sword. But when he looked closely, he was shocked to find that the black shadow was actually a woman with fair skin and bright clothes. At this time, she was sleeping soundly on the shoulder of the female demon catcher, snoring loudly. Is she the Miss Chen? Gu Cheng was confused. According to the standards in the book, the body shape of this rich girl can be roughly described as slightly fat, although she looks very white and pampered. But with this tonnage, no matter how you look at it, it can't be associated with the 4 words national beauty and heavenly fragrance, right? Ahem, generally speaking, the aesthetics of demons are similar to those of humans, but there are still some outliers, and the aesthetics of men and women are very different. I think this group of pig demons is like this, right? The female demon catcher explained in a low voice. Even though she was carrying a huge thing weighing more than 200 kilograms on her shoulders, she didn't look tired at all. By the way, young Master Gu, keep this token. The female demon catcher gently threw a palm-sized token to Gu Cheng. The latter reached out to take it and looked at it carefully. The token was pitch black with a big Su in the middle. It was made of neither gold nor jade. It felt heavy in the hand and felt quite good. What is this? Gu Cheng was curious. This is a token of my family. When you have the opportunity to visit Yunzhou City, in the future, you are welcome to visit the Su family in the north of the city. The female demon catcher carried the Tianjin lady who was sleeping like a dead pig and nodded slightly to the young man. Then she took out a piece of talisman paper, pinched the magic formula, and a ball of white mist spread out instantly. When the white mist dissipated, the figures of the two had already disappeared from the spot. Under the bright moonlight, a scorching night wind blew past, rolling up sparks. Gu Cheng looked at the place where the other party disappeared, his expression slightly strange. Yunzhou City. That's the capital of a state. Its prosperity is far beyond the reach of Chang'an County, a small and remote county, so, the true identity of this female monster catcher is a rich lady from a big family. Monster catching is just a side activity for her to experience life outside. Gu Cheng's eyes moved slightly. Combined with his previous performance, he has roughly figured out the other party's thoughts. I'm afraid this girl thinks of me as a martial arts genius who has not yet risen, so she chooses to invest in advance and make a good relationship. No wonder she is so easy to talk to when we first met, and she also gave me gifts. Gu Cheng looked at the wind and thunder sword art and the token in his hand, and he was a little amused for a while. Martial arts genius? What kind of genius is he? Whose genius spent more than 150 years to break through to the first level of chi and blood? At best, he is just a hacker who can Krypton Life. Chapter 8. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After throwing all the bodies into the fire and completely destroying them, Gu Cheng patted the dust off his body and quietly left the bandit camp. The location where the bandits set up camp was very remote, belonging to the suburbs of the suburbs. When Gu Cheng rushed back to Chang'an County, it was already noon the next day. Along the street, there was an endless stream of peddlers and vendors coming and going from the south and the north. Gu Cheng walked on this bustling street, feeling the fireworks of the world coming towards him. For a moment, he actually felt as if he was in another world, and memories surged in his mind. The country where Gu Cheng is currently located is a feudal dynasty named Yan, which has been passed down for thousands of years. The Yan has a vast territory and a large population. Chang'an County, a small county located in the border area, has a permanent population of nearly 400,000. It can be seen that this fantasy world cannot be judged by common sense. In many places, Gu Cheng strolled on the streets of the downtown area, with a lot of thoughts in his mind. His tall figure and handsome appearance stood out from the crowd and quickly attracted the attention of the pedestrians around him. When he noticed the dark blue official uniform of the Demon Suppression Division on the young man, his face changed slightly, as if avoiding the plague god. They all gave way for a distance, which made Gu Cheng speechless. Nowadays, demons are rampant and evil. Cultivators are rampant. In order to resist the invasion of demons and evil cultivators and maintain the long-term stability of the Great Yan dynasty, the court specially set up a branch of the Demon Suppression Division in each county, responsible for killing demons and arresting bandits in the local area. But in the eyes of most civilians in Chang'an County, compared with going outside the city to kill demons and eliminate demons, these police officers still prefer to confiscate homes and exterminate families in the city. Chun is a bunch of evil ghosts who bully the weak and fear the strong, who will not get up early without profit, and who eat people without spitting out bones. But no matter what, I am now a civil servant in the system, right? Gu Cheng thought to himself, recalling his miserable experience of failing to get a job in the civil service examination several times in his previous life. He was a little amused. The government office of the Demon Division branch of Chang'an County is located in the center of the downtown area. Gu Cheng walked into the Vermilion Gate, and several colleagues who were chatting in the front yard immediately noticed the visitor. But no one came forward to say hello. The eyes looking at him were also unfriendly, scrutinizing, contemptuous, indifferent, all at the same time. Gu Cheng was not surprised by this. He strode forward without looking sideways, completely treating others as air. This former bastard was not only a playboy who liked to steal women and jade, but also had a character that burned books and buried scholars, and had conflicts with many colleagues. Before, he had a powerful father who was a centurion to protect him, and others dared not speak out. There were even flatterers who came to flatter him. Now that his father is dead and he has no backing, who in the government will treat him well? He didn't add insult to injury like Wang Lin did, which was already a consideration for his father's face when he was alive. But let's be honest, the reason why Gu Cheng was so hostile to his colleagues, in addition to his previous reputation and character being really bad, there is another important reason that cannot be ignored. Lord Lin. Is Lord Lin going out on another mission? Lord Lin is so dedicated. It is a blessing for Changle County to have a master like you in charge. Gu Cheng stepped through the moon gate and heard a series of respectful greetings. As soon as he came to the inner courtyard. Looking up, he saw a tall and beautiful figure walking towards him along the bluestone path, followed by 2 female adjutants. This is a textbook cold and beautiful lady. The waterfall-like black long hair was tied into a high ponytail, gently fluttering behind her with her steps. Under the silver white official uniform, the graceful figure was curvy and ready to burst out, which made people fascinated. Her pace was very fast, and she just hit Gu Cheng face to face. The two looked at each other. The cold and beautiful lady looked normal, and nodded politely to Gu Cheng, which was considered a greeting. Gu Cheng nodded subconsciously in response. To be honest, this was the first time someone greeted him after he returned to the government office. However, given her cold temperament, she was always indifferent to everyone, so there was nothing to praise. As for the other 2 female adjutants, they were very unfriendly. They snorted coldly and turned their heads away with disgust, as if they had seen something dirty that they couldn't bear to look at. The 2 sides passed by each other and walked away. Gu Cheng strode forward, feeling the hostile eyes of his colleagues around him, and felt quite speechless. The cold and beautiful lady he had just met was named Lin Qinyan. She was the only daughter of Gu Cheng's father's sworn brother. She was also Gu Cheng's fiancée, who was betrothed to him since childhood. Although due to various subsequent reasons, this marriage had long been in name only, and the 2 parties had rarely met, but this did not prevent the group of Lin Qinyan's admirers in the yamen from seeing someone as a thorn in their eyes and a thorn in their flesh. This is a really bad start. Gu Cheng sighed inwardly. His current situation was really bad. Outside the city, there were various demons from the Black Wind Mountain, and inside the city, people hated the yamen of the Demon Suppression Division. If this job was not a kind of military service, he would not even be able to resign if he did not work for enough years. Leaving the territory of the garrison without permission would be directly treated as a deserter. Gu Cheng wanted to take off his official uniform on the spot and start a new life in another place. All the way to the entrance of the central hall of the 100 Households office, Gu Cheng looked over and saw a middle-aged man with a plump figure sitting in the main seat of the central hall, reviewing official documents. This man was called Tang Yuan, a 100 household of the Changle County Demon Suppression Division branch, and Gu Cheng's direct superior. The previous scouting mission that was a bummer was issued by this fat man. I, Gu Cheng, pay my respects to the adults. Gu Cheng stepped forward and saluted with his fists. Well, you're back. Hearing this, Tang Yuan put down the official documents in his hand, looked up at Gu Cheng, and a strange color suddenly flashed in his eyes. I don't know if it's an illusion. 100 Household Tang inexplicably felt that this kid seemed to have some subtle changes compared to the past few days, but under the blessing of Gu Cheng's breath-covering mystery, Tang Yuan did not see his improvement in cultivation. He just thought that his temperament changed drastically after his father died, and his perverse temper was restrained. Xiao Gu, I have heard the result from the Chen family. That Mr. Chen spent a lot of money to hire a powerful demon catcher, who has rescued Miss Chen in advance, which saved the Demon Suppression Division a lot of trouble. Captain Tang smiled at Gu Cheng with a very kind attitude. Although you made a wasted trip this time, according to the rules of the government office, you still have to be given the credit. With the credit you have accumulated before, although it is still not enough to inherit your father's centurion position, it is enough for you to be promoted to the general flag. Huh? Promotion this time? Gu Cheng's eyes flashed with surprise. As far as he knows, some internal positions of the Demon Suppression Division branch are iron rice bowls that can be inherited for several generations. As long as the descendants are strong enough and their cultivation is enough to convince the public, they can inherit their father's business and rise to the top in one step. Lin Qinyan can be a centurion of the Demon Suppression Division at such a young age. It was because of her excellent talent that she broke through to the Qi and Blood realm at a young age, thus inheriting her father's organization. From this point of view alone, it is not outrageous that Gu Cheng can be promoted to the general flag now, but the problem is, just based on the previous life of that pitfall, how can he be compared with a genius like Lin Qinyan? And the merits he accumulated before. What merits can he make? Is it to popularize physiological knowledge to young girls? Or to help lonely wives who stay alone in their empty rooms solve their problems? There must be something wrong when things are abnormal. Looking at the kind fat face of Captain Tang, Gu Cheng's eyes moved slightly, and he felt a hint of conspiracy in his heart. Chapter 9. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the adult world, people often say one thing on the surface and another behind the scenes. Gu Cheng sneered in his heart, but pretended to be happy on the surface, and bowed with his fists. Thank you for your cultivation. Tang Baihu nodded slightly, said some encouraging words, and finally approved 2 days of leave for Gu Cheng, and sent him away. After the young man walked away, Tang Yuan looked at the direction where Gu Cheng left, and the smile on his face gradually faded. Instead, he looked sinister and unhappy. Humph, this kid is really lucky. Tang Baihu snorted coldly. At this time, a short and fat young man who looked a bit like Tang Yuan walked in. After looking around the door for a few times, he quietly closed the door and said to Tang Yuan anxiously. Uncle, how come that pretty boy surnamed Gu is back alive? This is different from what you said before. Didn't you tell my mother before? As soon as he dies, let me inherit his father's organization. Don't worry. Jinyan, I know what's going on, uncle. Tang Yuan comforted him softly, feeling quite irritable. In fact, he had long noticed that there was something fishy about Wang Lin. Last time, he sent Gu Cheng to spy on the enemy, with the idea of killing someone with a borrowed knife, to induce Wang Lin, the traitor, to go and inform on him, and kill that stupid boy directly. As long as Gu Cheng died, he would make a little operation afterwards and change the sky and the day. He could let his nephew Zhao Jinyan inherit the iron rice bowl of the Gu family, which could be inherited from generation to generation, and embark on a smooth road from then on. Unfortunately, man's plans are not as good as God's plans. A powerful demon hunter intervened and completely ruined his plan. Don't worry, he can hide on the first day, but not on the 15th. I have promoted him to the general flag, and the main responsibility of the general flag is to go outside the city to solve the demon problem. Tang Baihu's mouth corners slightly raised, and his smile was very sinister. It just so happens that there is a very difficult case right now. As long as we cut off the beginning and the end, conceal some key information, and then let him go to deal with it. Don't say that the boy is a waste of knowledge and skills. Even if a master of Qi and Blood realm comes, it will be the same. Great. Uncle, you still have a way. After listening to Tang Yuan's calculations, Zhao Jinyan immediately clapped his hands in admiration. Then he had a flash of inspiration, thought for a moment, and whispered. Uncle, since this case is so dangerous, whoever comes will die, so can we trap one more person? What do you mean? Tang Yuan picked up the teacup. You don't know, there is a new troublemaker in the government office recently. He is arrogant because of his good talent. He is very annoying. Zhao Jinyan narrowed his eyes and looked sinister. You can send him to the command of that pretty boy, so that you can get rid of him at the same time, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Troublemaker. Oh, you mean Xiao Yun? Tang Yuan paused while drinking tea, glanced at his eldest nephew, and looked strange. As far as he knew, Xiao Yun had fled from other places. Both his parents died in the monster disaster, leaving only a little sister in the family, who was pretty and lovely, and pitiful. In order to protect his sister from being harassed, Xiao Yun fought with outsiders and became famous. Zhao Jinyan was one of the people who was beaten. Now he wanted to arrange Xiao Yun to come in. Obviously with the intention of avenging his personal grudge. Okay, let's do as you say. After thinking for a while, Captain Tang nodded gently, not taking it too seriously. He is just a newcomer without a backstage. Since you have offended my nephew, you have already found a way to die. While the uncle and nephew were secretly conspiring, Gu Cheng first went to the canteen of the government office to get a free lunch, and then went straight back to his own courtyard. It was late autumn at this time, no one had cleaned it for a few days, and the withered yellow leaves had already covered the entire courtyard, which looked deserted and bleak. Gu Cheng stood quietly in the center of the courtyard, looking around, with a lot of thoughts in his mind. The mother of the previous life died early, and the father was busy with official duties all day, so he neglected to discipline his son. Over time, the previous life became more and more self-indulgent, and eventually grew into a playboy who was addicted to alcohol and sex and had a bad temper. Alas! If a son is not taught, it is the fault of the father. Gu Cheng sighed and shook his head, and walked into the room. He put the token given by the female demon catcher into the cabinet, then he took out the Wind and Thunder sword art and began to read it carefully. Gu Cheng had a vague guess in his heart about what Tang Baihu was planning, but he was not interested in thinking about it. Anyway, let that fat guy. What kind of calculations are there? As long as Gu Cheng can become stronger by spending his life, he can use his absolute power to break all conspiracies and tricks. Therefore, finding ways to improve his strength is his top priority. Hehe, you are really worthy of being the eldest lady who ran away from Yunzhou City. You are generous when you make a move. The sword techniques you give away casually are all rare masterpieces. Gu Cheng flipped through the pages of the book, and was amazed in his heart. With 100 years of experience in sword training, he almost saw the exquisiteness of this sword technique at a glance. He immediately stopped hesitating, opened the system panel, and poured the remaining life into the Wind and Thunder sword technique. First year, you began to practice the Wind and Thunder sword technique. As a master of swordsmanship, you quickly understood the key points of this sword technique, and the Wind and Thunder sword technique broke through the small success realm. Third year, you strike out like the wind, and the sword force is faintly filled with the meaning of wind and thunder. The Wind and Thunder sword technique breaks through the mastery realm. Oh! In just 3 years, you have already broken through to the third realm. Gu Cheng showed a happy expression. It seems that the more than 100 years he spent on the iron-cutting sword technique was not in vain. Martial arts are not like the equipment in RPG games. Every time the equipment is updated, the old equipment is completely useless. It emphasizes learning by analogy and accumulating knowledge. Deeply studying a martial art can not only make you kill a lot in the current realm, it can also lay a solid foundation and pave the way for practicing more advanced martial arts in the future. Just when Gu Cheng was full of confidence and thought that the next realm would also break through rapidly like a broken bamboo, the progress of practice on the panels suddenly stopped. 33rd year, you practiced hard and comprehended the meaning of wind and thunder day and night, but you still couldn't find the way. 57th year, after years of hard practice, you still haven't found the key to breakthrough. You can't help but doubt your life. Am I really a fool? Gu Cheng's mouth twitched twice. His martial arts talent can only be said to be average, not dull, but definitely not very good. This Wind and Thunder sword art is much more difficult to practice than ordinary martial arts, and it is obviously a bit beyond the scope for him. Damn it, I really don't believe it. Gu Cheng looked determined, like a non-African who couldn't get the card in the mobile card game, and he was a little overwhelmed. Seeing that he had more than 300 years left in his remaining lifespan, he immediately continued to throw it in without reservation. Krypton life is actually very similar to Krypton gold. If you Krypton for a long time and can't make a splash, it only means that you haven't Krypton enough. As the number behind the remaining lifespan decreases rapidly, after stagnating for a long time, the progress of practice on the panel finally ushered in new progress. 133rd year, you suddenly had an idea and tried to fly a kite on a thunderstorm day, wanting to experience the meaning of wind and thunder in person. Gu Cheng. 134th year, you were struck by lightning, seriously injured and dying, but suddenly you had an epiphany, and your wind and thunder sword technique broke through the great completion realm. Gu Cheng. 184th year, you carefully cultivated for 50 years, finally recovered, and began to continue to practice the Wind and Thunder sword technique. Because you were struck by thunder, you have a deep understanding of the meaning of wind and thunder, and your practice speed is advancing by leaps and bounds. 185th year, you swung your sword, thunder rolled, like 1,000 birds singing, and the wind and thunder sword technique broke through the perfection realm. Chi and blood, wind and thunder sword technique, perfection. Remaining lifespan, 181 years. Chapter 10. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Countless cultivation experiences flooded into Gu Cheng's mind like a tide. About half an incense stick of time passed, the young man slowly opened his eyes, there were a few flashes of lightning in his dark eyes, he reached out and drew his sword, and the blood in his body surged. On the sharp blade, a few blue lightning flashed, which looked quite cool. With a swing of the sword, thunder exploded, as if a thunderbolt had struck the room out of thin air. Crack. A wooden chair in the corner of the room broke into two pieces, and the cut was charred black, emitting bursts of burnt smell. Cool. Gu Cheng nodded with satisfaction. This wind and thunder sword art is indeed extraordinary. A casual attack is as powerful as the iron slashing sword technique he used with all his strength. If it is combined with the explosive mystery of the iron slashing sword technique, one sword Shura, the power will be pushed to the limit, let alone the young master of the pig demon who had just entered the chi and blood realm. Even if you look at the entire Black Wind Mountain, there are probably not many demons in the chi and blood realm who can take his sword and not die, right? This is just the perfect realm. Should I go all the way to the ultimate realm? Gu Cheng glanced at the remaining lifespan on the panel, thought for a moment, and shook his head gently. In fact, for ordinary warriors, it is already very good to be able to practice a martial art to the mastery realm. Those who can practice to great success are elites picked from 100, those who can practice to the perfection realm are even more rare. As for wanting to break through the limits of martial arts and comprehend the ultimate meaning of martial arts, in addition to the talent far beyond ordinary people, the occasional flash of inspiration is the key to the final word. You may have an epiphany in one day, or you may be stuck in the same place for 8 lifetimes. It all depends on when your brain opens up, which is quite metaphysical. 181 years of life may seem like a lot, but from Gu Cheng's previous experience of forcibly deducing the iron slashing sword technique, it took 30 years to perfect it, but 80 years to break through the ultimate intention. It took 185 years to perfect the wind and thunder sword technique. It may take many more years to reach the ultimate intention. What if you put all your money in and still can't break through? Wouldn't it be a big loss? The ultimate intention martial arts is strong, but forcing it to be deduced is tantamount to a gamble. In my current situation, it is safest to accumulate some capital first. Gu Cheng sheathed the sword and looked at his panel, seeing that the cultivation column was still chi and blood first level, he couldn't help but sigh helplessly. Sure enough, after reaching the chi and blood realm, it is no longer possible to improve your cultivation by practicing martial arts alone. In the martial arts, there are 3 major realms in the early stage: body tempering, chi and blood, and breaking the ordinary. Among them, the most basic level is the tempering body realm, which is simply to strengthen the muscles and bones and temper the body, but the chi and blood realm and even the breaking the ordinary realm are different. If you want to continue to improve your cultivation, you need the corresponding realm of cultivation techniques. Therefore, the value of martial arts techniques is much higher than the martial arts secrets of the same realm. They are generally firmly held in the hands of those big families and big forces, and are strictly prohibited from being passed on. It is almost impossible for ordinary people to achieve class transition through cultivation. However, for Gu Cheng, the new general flag, it is not difficult to get a chi and blood realm cultivation technique. According to the rules of the government office, after being promoted to the general flag, you can take over some more dangerous demon-killing tasks, gain merit points, and then go to the arsenal, to exchange for various martial arts secrets. In addition to merit points, I can also plunder lifespan by killing demons, which is simply killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Although that fat Tang has bad intentions, he promoted me to the general flag, which saved me a lot of trouble. Gu Cheng's eyes were burning, and he was looking forward to his next task more and more. 2 days later, Gu Cheng ended his vacation and returned to the Demon Suppression Division to report again. As soon as he stepped into the inner courtyard, he was invited into the 100 Households office by a lieutenant. Tang Yuan was sitting in the main seat in the middle hall. When he saw Gu Cheng, he immediately greeted him with a smile. "Xiao Cheng, come here, I have a task here, and I need you to go out of the city." Tang Baihu handed Gu Cheng a document and gave a general introduction to the details of the task. Simply put, there was a suspected monster causing trouble in the forest near a village outside the city, and several herbal farmers who went up the mountain to collect herbs disappeared, so the local villagers reported to the Demon Suppression Division, hoping that the government would send someone to investigate. It is suspected that there is a monster causing trouble. This is too coincidental. I just finished my vacation and such a big job came. This is obviously a trap for me to jump into. Gu Cheng flipped through the official documents in his hand, and his heart was cold. Smile, although this kind of task of slaying demons and exorcising monsters is dangerous, with his current strength, Chun Chun is here just to give him life and merit points. So Gu Cheng thought for a while and took the task. Strange, this kid actually agreed to it. Tang Baihu was slightly stunned. He looked at the handsome young man in front of him with suspicion, and suddenly felt a little uneasy, but thinking of Gu Cheng's unlearned and unskilled character, he quickly put his mind at ease. Okay, your courage is commendable. What we lack most in the Demon Suppression Department is young people like you who dare to fight and fight. Tang Baihu nodded approvingly, and then changed the topic. By the way, Xiao Cheng, after you were promoted to the general flag, you should have a few capable people under you, right? Coincidentally, I just have a suitable candidate here. Xiao Yun, come in. Tang Baihu called out to the outside of the house. Soon, with a series of steady footsteps, a tall and strong captain of the Demon Suppression Division walked into the room. The man was about 20 years old, with thick eyebrows and big eyes, and a handsome appearance. Although he was not as handsome as Gu Cheng, he was also a little handsome. As the big man stood beside him, Gu Cheng also keenly smelled a faint smell of Chinese herbal medicine. I don't know if someone in his family is sick. Or if his family sells medicine. Is he the Xiao Yun? Gu Cheng glanced slightly. He had also heard a little about this little-known newcomer. He has a sister and a house, his parents are both dead, he looks handsome, and he is very talented. He hates evil, is kind-hearted, has enemies everywhere, and is full of fighting spirit, and his surname is Xiao. Hiss, why does this guy have a sense of déjà vu of the protagonist? Gu Cheng secretly complained in his heart. Fortunately, when Xiao Yun joined the Demon Suppression Division, Gu's father had already died. Without a backer, the predecessor naturally did not have any evil thoughts about Xiao Yun's sister, and the two sides had no intersection before. Otherwise, according to the routine in fantasy novels, he would definitely be a cannon fodder evil young man who has a way to die. Xiao Yun, from today on, you will work under the command of General Gu. Tang Baihu took a sip of hot tea and ordered the tall and strong young man. You two will go together for this mission. Xiao Yun, remember to protect your superior. After hearing his appointment, Xiao Yun suddenly opened his eyes wide. He looked up at Tang Baihu, then at Gu Cheng, and a hint of anger flashed across his fair face. Xiao Yun has not been in the Demon Suppression Division for a long time, but he has also heard a lot about the glorious deeds of this young Master Gu. As arrogant as he is, he naturally despises Gu Cheng, a relative, not to mention being his younger brother. But thinking of his sister who suffers from a chronic disease at home, and thinking of the cost of buying herbs every month, Xiao Yun took a deep breath, suppressed his unhappiness, and bowed with his fists. I obey your orders. Why do I feel a sense of workplace bullying? Gu Cheng looked at Xiao Yun's painful mask and felt a little subtle. He didn't have any idea about this thorny younger brother. After all, Gu Cheng's core goal was to kill monsters. As long as Xiao Yun didn't steal heads, he wouldn't bother to care about the rest.